Hi, this is Steve Aul, the Aul Financial Group. Just wanted to welcome everybody to the end of July town hall with the Aul Financial Group. Um, been a different month as far as markets are concerned, and I'll go into a little bit more on that here in a minute. But I am going to go ahead and turn the beginning part of this town hall over to Will.
Thank you, Steve. Thank you, everybody. This is probably 2 weeks after our town hall. So it's been a lot different type of meetings with clients, right? So now we're talking about of the big beautiful bill, what is happening with taxes, but a lot of things are not being considered for healthcare. So what is happening with healthcare, right? How is going to affect with the cost of your healthcare eventually starting from now and whenever all these changes start affecting you in retirement, in your IRMA, in whenever you start paying the Medicare. So let's dissect a little bit and see what we can talk about today about. So according to a recent data in Fidelity, shows that 65-year-old retiring around 2025 before or after in 2026, they're expecting to spend around $172,000 on healthcare in your retirement years. And it is a 4% increase from last year. So guess what? Inflation, it's going affecting a lot of your drugs prescriptions every time you go to the doctor, but it's going to keep increasing, right? So remember sometimes whenever we talk with clients and they're like, yes, I have my cost of living or COLA in my social security, but you don't realize you also is like trying to pay a little bit more in your Medicare. So always there is this gap between these two that if that's an affecting one, it will affect you later. So we're talking around in long-term care, if we add it, right? Because we have to consider if you're spending money in healthcare, eventually you also may spend money in long-term care. And we're looking around 70,000 to 100,000. And guess what? That will keep going up. So I bet hopefully your current advisor is talking to you about that, is planning about that. It's not only about investments, how the market is going, it's how are you planning. And right now, looking at healthcare costs and long-term care costs is something that we add in our plans. So right now, talking with a lot of clients, we're looking at around 20 to 30%. They never consider healthcare in their planning for retirement, right? They are not taking in consideration about these changes in laws or expenses for healthcare and long-term care. So it's something that you need to start considering for now. In this bucket that you're putting your travel bucket, right? We need also to consider your long-term care and healthcare. So it's something that we will help you with. We do have a different type of programs. We have, I call it a balance sheet of your life that we can see every year how your income is coming, your expenses, but then also we're considering how much are you eventually paying or spending in healthcare. And, quoting mail to life happens. So we need to be prepared in case one, your partner or you are ready to go spend a little bit more in healthcare, something happened with you, or going to spend in long-term care. Like I was saying, there's a lot of different type of deductions, and now that one big beautiful bill, you will have a $6,000 a new deduction, right? But remember that will also only affects right now in Social Security benefits, but it could have repercussions in your health care. What it means for you, right? If you didn't build a healthcare cushion, right, if you're still working, right, it's time to talk about it. If you are actually talking with your advisor, asking what will be the plan. Remember, we also help with Medicare. There's so many things that you have to realize: the advantage plan, Medigap, if dental vision here. And there's so many things you have to realize, and also IRMA, to be able that you make your payments, or you actually take your savings or the money that you are planning to use in retirement to go to the right bucket. So one of the things is analyze your expenses, try to put money that you're putting for a specific type of things, travel, but also trying to verify, if you have a long-term care plan, if you have a health care plan that can help you, right? If you think that you're about to get Medicare and you don't know what plan to actually choose, talk to us, because we'll be able to refer you or help you with someone to see like, what are you actually looking and will be the best for you. The only way to resolve this type of questions related with long-term care and healthcare is making a plan. That's what we do. We're not only looking at your investments, we're trying to look for every pillar of retirement. And healthcare and long-term care came in like an important they're come to play, right? They're now really, really important. It's something that you need to plan, we need to analyze for you and be able for you to be prepared and you don't have any surprises in the future. So that was my topic today. I think it's really important, especially right now where things are going on, where things are shifting. So if you have questions, please let us know. We will be able to help you with those. Thank you.
Thank you, Will. And that's one of the conversations that I usually constantly have. The big difference between an investment advisor and a financial planner is what Will just talked about. Because when we start to look at investment advice only, it's just about rates of return. And one of the quotes that I really like, it's not what you make, it's what you get to keep that's very important. So taxes does come into that. And then we also have, what are those things? We insure our cars, we insure our houses. But do we insure against a long-term care exposure? Do we insure our income? Those are some of the things that we start to look at, and we take those pillars that we were talking about to give us that idea of, are we covering all of the aspects of financial planning? Because I think that's the biggest compliment we get. Wow, nobody's ever talked to me about that. So thank you, Will, for talking about long-term care and insurance. The other thing that most people forget to include, inflation. 5 years ago, we didn't talk about inflation. Ultra low interest rates, hardly no inflation. Now it's on everybody's mind. So those are the things that we have to look at. I'm going to go to a question that was kind of brought up. Steve, kind of what's going on in the market? We had Liberation Day and the great big drop. I believe to be an overreaction. Had a few phone calls around that time and said, this is not an overall, this is a reaction. And that's what usually hurts most people in their investments, is when they overreact or emotionally react to what's going on in the market. Well, then we said we're going to make peace with China. And for the last parts, we've had this big uphill tick. Well, guess what? It's slowed down. This week it's been fairly flat. It's been boring. That's okay in a lot of cases. Just being boring is okay. But why? One, Federal Reserve made the decision today to not raise or lower interest rates today. They're not unanimous right now. So we are looking for the possibility of the reduction of interest rates when they get together. Jackson Hole is in August. They'll get together again in September. A lot of us do expect for some to do something at that time. Why? Because I believe that the Federal Reserve has always been slower than that what they could have or should have done in the minds of a lot of us. They raised them too slow until they had to raise them drastically. A lot of people believe that we should be lowering them now. Well, we're gonna allow that to happen. And the other thing that I look at when, just kind of neutral is okay. Most people don't realize that the overall stock market usually takes a 10% decline, what they call a correction, almost every calendar year. At one point during that year, from the high at that point to a trough before it hits a new high, will be down more than 10%, and that's a correction. And I believe that sometimes those are what we call good for the market, because they don't just go straight up. They started on a straight down and then they caught themselves and came back up. I think a market that's overbought has the chance to decline. That's why I like the fact that I've got whatever almost anybody has an interest in. You want to be ultra aggressive and you don't care about the ups and downs? I've got both ETF portfolios and stock portfolios that meet that wish. But if you're a little bit more conservative and you want to make sure to protect against the downside, we have that on the market side. Because we do have people that say, Steve, I don't want an annuity. And I'm going to say, that's okay. You don't have to have an annuity. But I look at the people that are saying, I don't want to lose money due to market volatility. I can't do that if you got money in the stock market. It's just, it can't be done. I can't guarantee that. I can only guarantee that on the insurance side. So that's why I think is a lot more important when I mentioned at the beginning. We're talking about financial planning, not just investment advice. I've had the people come in, they'll sit down, Steve, I'm going to give you X number of dollars and my advisor is going to keep X number of dollars and we're going to look at it for a year and see who gets the money. My reaction to that is give it to them. And I usually get that deer in a headlight look. What do you mean, give it to them? Well, I look at it to point, tell me what the goal is. Tell me what the market's going to do. If I put your money in a fixed indexed annuity and the market drops 20% and you get a zero, that was a win. But if I'm ultra aggressive with your portfolio, where are we at? Was that in your best interest? Not in my opinion. Most of the people that we deal with don't have to make great big returns every year just so they can retire. They like to, but they don't have to. And that's where we look at it as we get older. Do we have the capacity to take the risk? Yes, we do. We're okay with that. I can be an 8 or a 9. That's not a problem. Is my attitude okay about it when I have the ups and downs in the market? Yeah, I'm okay with that. Then I ask that final question. Do you need to take this risk? And most of the people say, no, they don't need to do it. A lot of the times it's a number in their head. If my portfolio hits X, Y, or Z, I'm okay. Well, I'm looking at the point, if we have a full financial plan and we look at your income, we look at your taxation, we make sure that we're going to cover your long-term care exposure with insurance, if that's your goal. We think that's very important. We also are going to ask, where are you at with your legal documents? Do you have that in place? Or once you're here, it's not going to be a smooth transition. So those are the things that we look at that we believe the Aul Financial Group brings something different than just here's the rate of return. Because like I said, I can dial it up and I can be real aggressive. I can dial it down, be ultra conservative. I can take money and put it in an income fund for you that's doing fairly well. We'd have to sit down and talk to it about it, what's going on at the time if you came in or had an interest in that. So if you or anybody you know would like to look at having somebody assist them in walking through this journey called retirement versus just it was good to see you, Mr. and Mrs. Smith. Since last year, we've done this or that. It's up, it's down. We'll see you in a year. I don't believe that's financial planning, and I don't believe that's helping the people that we like to help go through this journey we call retirement. So I want to thank you all for listening. I want to thank the people for bringing in the questions. It makes it a lot easier for me when I have somebody call up or send me a text message during the week, says, Steve, please talk about this. Then I'm talking about something that I know you all have an interest in. And I want to say thank you to everybody for the referrals. The gift to friend and family is best gift and compliments that we could ever receive. Why? Because we like working with people like you. So I want to say thank you very much. And I look forward to talking to you all in August. So thank you very much. Appreciate it.